This is SSPTV News, brought to you by Samsung Productions and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
After decades in service to the community, West Hazleton's Fire Chief Emeritus Robert Ward gets a hero's goodbye after his passing. Welcome everyone, and thank you for watching. I'm Ken Carr, and let's get right to the information. Teachers will return to classrooms in the Hazleton Area School District on Monday, February 1st, and that will be followed by a phased return of students starting on Monday, February 8th. A survey has been emailed to parents in the district asking if they would like to keep their child at home or have them return. The survey will end on Thursday, January 21st. When students do head back, there will be no transportation due to social distancing recommendations given out by the state. Reports came out this morning that President-elect Joe Biden has selected Dr. Rachel Levine as his Assistant Secretary of Health. Dr. Levine is currently Pennsylvania's Secretary of Health. She could become the first openly transgender person to be confirmed by the United States Senate. Our latest news feature is a clip from a Sam LaSancho that's currently running on SSPTV, featuring the president of Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton, John Fletcher, and the hospital's Vice Chair of Medicine, Dr. Jody Lenko. Here's Dr. Lenko talking about the COVID-19 vaccines.
You said that it's incredibly effective. Okay, now how do you know that?
So they basically looked at, they did study trials of lots of patients, hundreds of thousands of patients that they had volunteers for in the summer of this past year. So they enrolled participants. We at Lehigh Valley had about over 300 participants of volunteers in the Pfizer trial. Moderna did their similar trials, and what they looked at, they gave half of the patients the vaccine and half of the patients what they call placebo, or non-vaccine, an injection, and just watched and waited. And they waited till they had a certain number of COVID cases in those in that group. And what they found when they got to a certain number, around 100, they looked at who had the vaccine and who didn't, and 95 of those 100 patients had not had the vaccine versus 5 of those patients that had had the vaccine. So that's how they get to that effective rate.
Where does the vaccine come from?
So the vaccine right now is initially from the manufacturers, which are the Moderna and the Pfizer. Those are then sent to the state health departments. So it's important to know that we don't get control of what we ask for from the company. We can't go directly to Pfizer right now and say we want 3,000 vaccines. We are getting the vaccine directly from the State Department of Health, so the Department of through Pennsylvania, and they are controlling, exactly who gets the vaccine and how much. So as much as we would like to roll this out on a big scale, some of it we are waiting and asking and trying to get as much vaccine as we can that we can also safely administer to our patients and to our colleagues.
So is Lehigh Valley Hospital prepared to distribute to the community?
So we're working through that phase now. So right now we were talked about a little bit about the phases. So we are in phase 1A according to the state, and you can find this on the Department of Health.
We're going to show that as you're talking. Explain the phases, because we're going to have it on the screen.
Right. So phase 1A is for healthcare workers, is for hospital workers, EMS, first responders, things like that. In addition to that, phase 1A is also our skilled nursing facilities, our nursing home residents, and our assisted living home residents. So we are working through those groups now. Lehigh Valley has also picked up some of those nursing facilities as well. They were initially slotted to be with CVS and Walgreens, but some of that has been a little delayed. So we are working through some of those groups, and I know 4 of our local facilities are getting vaccinated by Lehigh Valley this week and early next week. So that's phase 1A. We are almost through Lehigh Valley is almost through the majority of who we feel is offered the vaccine in that group. So we are trying to get into the next phase, which is the 1B. That 1B phase it includes any patient 75 and over, and then another longer list of essential workers, grocery store, postal workers, firefighters, etc. So we're moving into that, but we're not quite there yet, and we're waiting for the state's approval and guidance as we move into that phase.
Today's news feature is brought to you by The Cheese Store and more. Go to their Facebook page to see their specials and check out their catering menu.
This Sam Lasan Show with the Lehigh Valley Health Network is running on SSPTV, and you can watch it anytime at ssptv.com and on the SSPTV YouTube channel. The life of West Hazelton Fire Chief Emeritus Robert Ward was celebrated on Saturday. Our Sam Lasan Jr. was at St. Gabriel's Church in Hazelton to capture the scene and to talk with local firefighters about their brother.
Not only did I work with Bob Ward as the chief with other departments when I ran with Hazel Township years ago, worked with him with Hazelton, but he was an excellent fire instructor. And he did vehicle rescue classes for the city of Hazelton, and he'll be greatly missed. But I'm glad that I had the opportunity to learn and mentor with him, to pick his brain on some of the things that he has done and accomplished in his years of service.
The Hazelton area fire service and the fire service in the entire eastern Pennsylvania has lost one of the greatest educators, fire chief there was. He will never be replaced by anybody for his actions and his education, and he's provided thousands of firefighters across Pennsylvania.
Today we're burying a true pillar of the fire service of the Hazelton area, and including the state, as we lay our brother and Chief Robert Ward to rest. He'll never be forgotten. He'll always be with us, but he's a true pillar of our community, our fire service. He truly left the fire service better than he found it, and we're so very blessed to have been, to be in his presence. And again, so many of us have been taught by him. He's been a mentor to so many of us, and again, we're so very thankful for his service that he gave to our community, and always be with us.
Talk about all the departments that were here today.
It's just a true honor to see the amount of departments, the amount of personnel that showed up for his funeral today. It just shows what kind of man he is, and what kind of chief he was, and what kind of instructor and firefighter he was. Again, like I says, the bottom line is he left the fire service better than he found it.
Do you know any, like, when he started, any about his background?
When he got into the fire service, I know he was like on the CETA program, and he was hired full-time in West Hazelton, and he's been the life and blood of the West Hazelton Fire Department. You know, if anybody knows anything and you say West Hazelton, the first person you'll say is Chief Robert Ward.
Thank you, Sam, for that story, and you can see more from the service on our YouTube channel.
Time now for weather on SSPTV News.
Here's our forecast from the National Weather Service. Wednesday is partly sunny with highs in the 20s. Wednesday night mostly cloudy with lows in the teens. Thursday is mostly cloudy with highs in the 30s. Thursday night mostly cloudy with lows in the 20s. Friday is partly sunny with highs in the 30s. Friday night partly cloudy with lows in the teens. Saturday is partly sunny with highs in the 20s. And Saturday night partly cloudy with lows in the teens. One quick score to tell you about today. The Hazelton area girls basketball team lost a non-league game to Allentown Central Catholic 41-33. Our in-depth sports feature is on the way, and our community feature is next, and it's about the Luzerne County Sports Hall of Fame giving an assist to the Hazelton Integration Project to help feed those in need. That story plus our SSPTV Spotlight segment are next.
The American Red Cross will be having a blood donation opportunity on January 30th at Christ United Methodist Church in Mountaintop. For more information, you can visit redcrossblood.org. SSPTV News would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Frederick J. Gula, age 98 of Hazelton, the Frank J. Bonin Funeral Home will announce the arrangements. Denise M. Hevlivia, age 73 of State College, services were previously held under the Koch Funeral Home in State College. And Barbara Kettner, age 86 of Drums, a funeral service will be held on Thursday at 10 a.m. at the Nice Heart Funeral Home in Frackville. Friends may call Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m. at the funeral home. Today's social and obituary report is brought to you by Harmon Funeral Homes and Crematory. Call 570-788-0977 or go to harmonfuneral.com.